Hey, what's up guys? My name is JabsSkyWalker, but you can call me Jabs. This is a video I've been wanting to do since I made my last video and kind of mentioned it. If you have not checked out my last video, check it out. I give the top 3 pros and cons to Pokemon Unite's new map, Sky Ruins. But basically what this video is going to be discussing, guys, is Rayquaza, or just the boss center Pokemon within the Pokemon Unite maps. In my previous video, I mentioned how it was a con that Rayquaza was in the game, not for Rayquaza itself, not for the buff that it gives, but just because of the type of game Pokemon Unite is. Now, if we think about Pokemon Unite in general, guys, it is a point-based game, right? So it should be about scoring. It should be about leveling up and scoring, and not about a center boss Pokemon at the end. Now, I did mention this last time, but basically what I'm saying is, imagine if there was not a center boss Pokemon for Pokemon Unite. Like, imagine if we were just able to score the last 2 minutes and maybe, you know, everyone could reach their highest level, get to their highest potential before the boss battle of Rayquaza or previous Zapdos. What if it was just focused on scoring the last 2 minutes instead of focus on getting this thing in the center that gives you a buff? Now, what I mean is, basically, I think the removal of Rayquaza or any type of center Pokemon that gives a buff would prove positive, and I think it would basically show who has real skill and who doesn't when it comes to this game. I feel like a lot of people do get bailed out when it comes to Pokemon Unite in their ranked games. People do get bailed out by Rayquaza, or they used to get bailed out by Zapdos. If you play bad the whole game, I'm sorry, but you deserve to lose. If you are not scoring what the game intends you to do, if you are not doing just that, if you're not focusing on objectives and you're just trying to get kills, you should not be bailed out at the end of the game and win. It is just ridiculous to me, honestly. Like, I love the game, don't get me wrong, but I don't like how people can get bailed out for playing very mediocre throughout the whole match and they just suddenly win. Now, this is most frustrating when you have a crazy lead, like before Rayquaza spawns, or you had a crazy lead before Zapdos spawned in the last map. When you have these crazy leads and you're like, yes, I secured the victory, we're going to win, and then all of a sudden you lose. That team that won does not deserve to win. I just don't think they should be able to walk away with the W for not even scoring or not even getting rid of one goal, you know. I'm sure I'm not the only one who probably thinks this, but the reason I do want to bring up this discussion is maybe this will get to Unite itself, like Pokemon itself, and maybe they will make a mode, like a ranked mode without that, and maybe a ranked mode with that. I'm trying to think of some ideas they could do, guys. But inevitably, I don't want a boss Pokemon in the center. I think it's very corny. Even when I'm winning, I just don't like it. I would rather just like go around and score the whole time instead of having to focus on something that gives me a buff to score. I want to see my points at the end because I know I did that myself without any type of center buff. Now, if we're going to compare MOBAs, right, let's talk about League of Legends for a second. The biggest difference between League of Legends and Pokemon Unite is League of Legends is, of course, all about tower defense, right? You were trying to break towers. Those towers have health, all right? I know League of Legends has Baron, but Baron spawns several times within the game. Those games are longer. the team that gets Baron doesn't always win, and you have a chance to get Baron again if you stopped him, okay? So it's a big difference because Pokemon Unite is point based, so you getting that buff and you having 50 points and then all of a sudden it's 100 is way different with 2 minutes left than League of Legends with Baron when there's like maybe 10 minutes left of the game. If the team doesn't play defense well, you'll probably win if you have Baron, but if they do, then you're more than likely just going to get rid of a tower or two. You know, it's so much different, you know. Now I'm just comparing this because you know, again, they're both MOBAs, right? I mean, they're different in a lot of ways, similar in a little bit, but different in a lot, right? League of Legends is a way more convoluted game than Pokemon Unite. However, when it comes to these buffs, right, I think it makes more sense to have these type of buffs in longer games. Now, am I saying Pokemon Unite should have longer games? No, that's not what I'm saying. I really do like the 10-minute matches. And honestly, I think longer games would just want to make me pull my hair out. I really think getting rid of that buff just makes sense because of the type of game Pokemon Unite is. If it was a tower defense game, that's a little different, but since it is point based, meaning you can literally lose by 1 point, I think it should be more focused on that. It should be more focused on scoring and less on getting buffs to score. And think about it this way, right? I don't know if it's just me, maybe it's because I play like defenders and like all arounders, you know, and stuff like that. I don't usually play attackers, but I'm usually not full level by the end of the games. And I think that's kind of weird. I think everyone should be able to get to full level before the game ends, but I'm usually not because I may be like level 13 or 14. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes I'm not full level, and that's because once Rayquaza spawns, I'm like, okay, stop everything. Stop farming, stop scoring. I gotta kind of pay attention to this. I don't want the other team to take it. And I shouldn't have to focus on what the other team might do. I should be focused on what they're doing. But the fact that Rayquaza, and formerly known as Zapdos, would give the team the win, basically, I have to focus on that even if I'm crushing the team before they even spawn. And I just think with those last 2 minutes, if I could focus on just scoring and leveling up and have the same type of game I had 8 minutes prior to the spawning of the center boss, then I would be able to level up. I would be able to have a higher score average. Scoring would take more skill. There's just a lot, guys. And you know, obviously you guys can bring up some good points as well. I would love to hear them, but you know, I can definitely go on and on with this. But in general, I just think they should get rid of those center bosses and just leave it up to scoring. Like, just make Pokemon Unite about scoring and not about having a buff at the last 2 minutes. It doesn't make the game more competitive, in my opinion. Like, it just gives you something extra to watch, but it doesn't make it more competitive, because once the other team gets that buff, it's pretty much GG. I mean, it's less GG now than with Zapdos, with Rayquaza, but it's pretty much GG. And I think it takes more skill to have a long-term type of defense with your team and have a long-term type of offense when it comes to scoring, rather than killing a boss in the center. But anyway, I digress. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? What are some new things you think Pokemon Unite can bring to the game instead of like a center boss? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Check out my last one. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope the best of your todays are the worst of your tomorrows. Peace.